Now, the story of the Grammy-winning parachute pant-wearing Bobby Brown. BET Networks is picking up the Bobby Brown story in a new two-part miniseries where the New Edition miniseries had left off. Here to tell us all about it is Whitney McClain, who reprises his role as Bobby Brown, along with Gabrielle Dennis, who stars as the late R&B icon Whitney Houston. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. I think people are always interested in these stories. There's been so many tabloids over the years on Bobby Brown. Let's kind of just go back in time a little bit, because this story really does span his, 30 years of his life, beginning in growing up in the projects. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what you've learned about Bobby Brown, because I think a lot of people have opinions about him from what they've read in the tabloids. How do you see him as a person playing him throughout this story?
Bobby is such a down-to-earth kind of guy, super loving. Through this whole process, like within 2 years, he's became like an uncle to me. He's all about his family. He likes to have fun. You know what I mean? But I think people took his stage presence, like his raw, like, I don't know how to explain, like, that persona of him being like the bad boy on stage. They kind of took that and kind of made that who he was, and that's not who Bobby Brown was.
Because none of us are one-dimensional,
right?
You know? We're all multifaceted, and I feel like for me, meeting him, it was like, oh my gosh, he's such this gentleman, and like he's such a family guy, and everyone around him is so full of love. So for me, that was very surprising, because I obviously just knew him as Bobby Brown and humping around.
Right, exactly.
So it's just pelvic thrust. That's what I think. Pelvic thrust and sloped hair.
Exactly. I was the same way.
Well, and let's talk about a little bit about your role as well, Gabrielle. You play Whitney Houston, obviously a huge, iconic role to be able to play. How does it feel to play that role, and what do we see of her in this show?
Well, it's very exciting to play her and overwhelming at the same time, but I approach it with a lot of respect, a lot of prayer, and just sitting down talking with the director, and his vision of her is that we all know Whitney on a pedestal and as this larger-than-life superstar icon, but we wanted to dive in and look at her more of the mother and the wife and her at-home persona, which is so much different than her, her public persona on stage. So approaching it was just more about making her as human and relatable as possible, because she goes through a lot of the pains that we all go through, and I think there's a lot of dark things that they went through, very hard, heavy things that they go through that will be exposed in this film that people may or may not have been aware of. But it helps paint a picture as to why and how people choose to go the route of addiction, and how you get addicted, and how, struggling through life when you're under a microscope and then you have all of these personal things that you're dealing with. Life is real, and I think this movie helps to show the realness of this relationship, and not just the glitz and the glam, and we're on red carpets and we're at parties and whatever that is. That's all great and dandy, but this is something different, and I hope what people get to take away from this film is seeing these two people, as well as everyone else in the movie, as human beings first and foremost. So for me, the middle of this movie, the center of this movie is heart, that I don't think people are expecting to see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of music and entertainment, but there's going to be some stuff, people that are going to take them for a loop, that they're not expecting about his life and his story.
Well, I'm glad you talked about that, and the fact that it does touch on the addiction or mental illness or any of the things that sort of played a role in some of this lifespan that we've seen. Is there parts about Bobby Christina? Is she involved in the film at all?
Yes. It's all the way from Bobby when he got kicked out of New Edition all the way up till currently. So you're going to see all of that, everything. Bobby's not holding back at all.
Two-part series, so people can watch it on a Tuesday and Wednesday night in both. Great. Anything you want to leave viewers with in terms of just why they should see this?
Yeah, for one, you're going to enjoy the music. If you're a Bobby Brown fan, even if you're not, you're going to enjoy the music. Like, night one is all about, I think, this fun and this energy that is the Bobby Brown persona that we all think we know. And then night two is going to hit you hard with some stuff that's just a lot different. I think the vibe is totally different. And I'm excited. I think you guys are going to really enjoy. I mean, this guy does an amazing performance. If you liked what he did in New Edition, it's like tenfold.
And Gabrielle kills it Listen,
Thank
I
you.
get chills every time I see it, so I'm excited for the world to see it.
Yeah, so
as
sit
well.
back, relax, and just take in the work and enjoy it, guys.
Thanks to both of you. Whitney and Gabrielle, really appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, you can watch the Bobby Brown story. It's a 2-night miniseries on the BET network beginning on Tuesday, September 4th. It's at 8 o'clock.